So remember I told you when the Teamsters made their decision not to endorse because of this so-called straw poll showing 59% of their voters wanted Trump and only 34% wanted Vice President Kamala Harris. And then all of a sudden you had Teamsters in Pennsylvania and Michigan and Nevada and California and all around the country supporting Vice President Kamala Harris. Well, guess what? The Teamsters General President Emeritus Jim Hoffa released his own statement, and he is not happy. Quote, this week, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters Union made a choice to not endorse a candidate in the presidential race between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. This is a critical error and, frankly, a failure of leadership by Sean O'Brien. This election is too important for our union to not do its duty. We must take a stand for working Americans. There's only one candidate in this race that has supported working families and unions throughout their career, and that is Vice President Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has demonstrated an unwavering dedication to the principles that matter most to working families. Her advocacy for fair wages, workplace safety, and comprehensive labor reforms aligns with the core values of the labor movement. In my 23 years as General President of the Teamsters Union, I oversaw the endorsement process through 6 presidential races. In every case, we supported the candidate that demonstrated a proven track record of fighting for working Americans and unions. One of the greatest assets our union brings in the political arena is our ability to mobilize our membership and put boots on the ground to support pro-labor candidates. By the IBT choosing to not endorse Harris Walz, the invaluable impact those grassroots efforts represent will be absent in critical battleground states. The simple fact is that by not endorsing the Harris Walz ticket, the clear and correct choice for labor and working families, Sean O'Brien has undermined their campaign. With 48 days left until the election, the Teamsters Union had a chance to have a positive effect on the outcome of this election. Every major union has endorsed the Harris Walz ticket. But instead of standing in solidarity with all of labor and helping Harris Walz get over the finish line, the IBT has chosen to take a seat on the sidelines. And folks, that is a powerful letter. Now keep in mind, the Teamsters, they had endorsed President Barack Obama. But see, what you have is you have these white men in the Teamsters who feel differently about Donald Trump. They like Donald Trump. They gravitate to him. But guess what? He's anti-union. He doesn't give a damn about them. It was Vice President Kamala Harris that cast the tie vote, that broke the tie, and provided billions to save pensions, including 600,000 Teamsters. You would think the folks who had their asses saved when it came to their pension will remember the person who actually did it. We also remember when Donald Trump was on with Elon Musk and he talked about, hey, fire workers who were striking. I'm sorry, do pension people not remember that? Do Teamsters people not remember that? See, folks, this is a perfect example of people who vote against their own economic interests. So they're supportive of Donald Trump. Oh, because they like him and love his tough talk. Donald Trump is anti-labor. Donald Trump is anti-working class. And I remember I responded to this stupid tweet. Because if you want to know one of just the dumbest people out here, it's Megyn Kelly. It's Megyn Kelly. She's pretty dumb. She's dumb in that this is the same Megyn Kelly. If y'all want to see stupidity, I mean, this to me, I'm going to go to in a second. So if you want to understand stupidity and how the mind of these white conservatives work, is what Megyn Kelly actually tweeted. So last night she was whining and complaining about the Oprah Kamala Harris rally. And see, this is in line with the Teamsters. Here is utterly clueless Megyn Kelly. amazed. They think this Oprah thing is going to appeal to independents. A bunch of super rich Hollywood celebs endorsing Harris, absolutely none of whom understands anything about the working class's suffering. MC by one of the richest women on earth whose act has grown very stale. I'm sorry, is this the same woman who got a $69 million buyout from NBC because her show sucked and they fired her? $20 million from Fox? Interesting that you want to talk about somebody being rich. Megyn Kelly, you don't know jack about the working class. You prove that every single day. Donald Trump despises unions. Donald Trump has stiffed small business owners, people who did the work at his casinos, but he said, I don't have to pay y'all. And then told them, fine, sue me. Then sued them back. But I need y'all to understand how whiteness operates. The Teamsters decision, and you see Hoffa criticizing it, and this nonsense from Megyn Kelly is a perfect example of how whiteness works. And how they don't understand the working class. Who save their pensions? Who has been called? Union people have said this administration is the most pro-union administration in decades. So how is it they don't understand the working class? Matt?
I don't know. I wish I had something astute to say. I mean, what I think you see that being is part and parcel with what Republicans are doing a lot, which is selling policy that is inconsistent with reality. I mean, it's like when you hear people in Texas, when you hear Governor Abbott say that he doesn't want to accept certain Medicaid funds or, federal funds. We're not going to accept federal funds when some large percentage of Texans need those and continue to vote Republican because they buy the abortion sound bites, or they buy certain sound bites that make them vote Republican, despite the fact that the Republican Party is promulgating policy that's directly counter to their interest. That's because, to your point about whiteness, a lot of times whiteness in particular is what is leveraged to galvanize people whose actual political interests are different than what the Republican Party is selling. That's what you see. So, that's one thing you hear often when I feel like, frankly, it's conservative white people who feel like they don't have anything else to attack a person for. Then they try to flip it on its head and make them some kind of, oligarch. And there's a good argument that a lot of our government is oligarchy rather than democracy anyway. But it's just kind of the pot calling the kettle black, especially when you're already rich. So this is all rhetoric and this is sound bites. And these kinds of things are used to galvanize a base of people, unfortunately, who are not discerning enough to realize that the policies that this party is promulgating are not policies that benefit them.
And it's laughable, Michael. It's laughable as you listen to these folks complain about, not understanding working class people. Oh, they do. They understand them. But the right wingers, they have lied to people and convinced them that, no, we have your best interest at heart. No, you have the best interest. You're the best interest of the bosses. You're the best interest of the companies. That's who you have. That's what you're talking about. In fact, this is one of the workers speaking right now in Madison, Wisconsin, at the Vice President Kamala Harris rally. Let's go live there.
Kamala Harris to be our next president of the United States. We are standing with over 1 million other Teamsters and retirees who have endorsed Kamala Harris because she spent her career fighting for working families, and as vice president in the most pro-union administration in history, she worked with the Teamsters and other unions and our own U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin to pass the historic Butch-Lewis Act, which saved the pensions of over 1 million retirees to date. Vice President Harris has created millions of good-paying jobs through the administration's historic investments in infrastructure and bringing manufacturing back to the United States, and she knows there's more work to do. Trump's Project 2025 agenda would go even further, attacking the abilities for unions to organize. The bottom line, Trump is a scab. That's right. That's why this November, the Teamsters here in Wisconsin will work hard, hand in hand with millions of union workers across the country to defeat Donald Trump and send Vice President Harris and Governor Walz to the White House.
Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems.
Oh, she had a big crowd. Oh, the crowd.
This weird obsession with crowd sizes. It just goes on and on and on. America's ready for a new chapter. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.